Should be live on everything. Go ahead. You wanted to go ahead and explain what the concept is.
So we were driving home on Monday from the All-Star race, and we started talking about we had trouble getting out of the track. And then we wrote, what other tracks have we had trouble getting out of and which ones were great getting out of? So we pulled up our list of all the tracks that we've been to and all the races we've been to. And we started talking about the getting in and out of the tracks. Then we started talking about things like food, and because of course we do. And we're talking about like hotels and things like that. And we said it would be interesting to maybe tell you guys some of the things that we have found about tracks, things that work for us or things like that. And then you got a message.
Yeah, private message. I not gonna share with somebody that asked the same questions. Basically,
yeah,
they kind of said
all happened at the same time.
Yeah, they said they're going to Michigan in a couple weeks, and they kind of wanted some tips and tricks, and and knowing that we have went to a couple different tracks. So what's interesting about this is tonight we're gonna just do a couple tracks, see how long it takes us to go through them, talk about other things. Like I said, things that pop up. So you don't have to worry about behaving still in RS. Whatever kind of comments anybody brings up, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, we try to respond to them. But the actual topic could be like exactly about the road trip itself. And what's kind of funny is I start going through the list of tracks we've been to and realized, okay, well, Charlotte, Nashville, Michigan are the next 3 races. We've been to all 3 of those tracks. So maybe we'll have some insight into certain things, certain tracks. We're trying to go back and remember because like Nashville was 2023, but Charlotte it's actually been 2018. Well, we were there 2023 for the truck race.
That counts because we were in the facility. We just didn't see the race.
We saw the truck. We saw the truck race.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, we didn't see the cup race.
We didn't see the cup race.
But we were there. We still had to deal with traffic. We still had to deal with eating.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So hacking for Indy and Nashville. Oh, you're going to do 2? Both places? Going to drive down?
That's cool.
Drive between them. So
yeah. How cool would that be?
That'd be real cool. So we basically want to start off with Charlotte, and this week Charlotte is crazy because the whole week going into the 600, there's like events everywhere, and if you haven't seen it yet, Ryan does have an appearance Friday, and it's at the Mooresville Walmart. What's his name? 169 Norman Station Boulevard, Mooresville, North Carolina. At 3:00 is the appearance. They're going to give out 200 wristbands. First come, first serve basis. It says beginning at 2, which hopefully that's the way they do it. Although sometimes certain individuals kind of rush them or try to figure out who it is and try to get the wristbands early if they can. But the line will probably start before 2, I would think, really, just to get the wristbands.
I would be shocked if there weren't people in line before 2.
So let's talk about our strategy first. So is the person asked the question, the first thing was about where to stay, so forth. And we, and this is going to vary by person. Some people don't mind, I don't know how to put it,
a day trip?
A motel, a hotel versus hotel kind of a thing where, you get a motel and it's only so much a night and you're not, we like to stay someplace, I want to just say a little nicer, basically. We want a little more comfort in knowing that the place that we're staying at is going to have better facilities. Is that a good way of putting it?
Are you okay with me saying the hotel chains we use?
Yeah, that don't matter. No.
We're not getting sponsored by anybody.
No.
But we have 2 apps that we use I do on my phone. And one is the Marriott Bonvoy app, and the other one is Hilton. Because it seems to be, if I can't find a Marriott or a Marriott affiliated, I can usually find a Hilton close by or something related to Hilton. So those are the apps that we use, and I'm constantly on them trying to find the best deal for what we want. We always try to stay, when we stay in hotels, it's always about an hour to an hour and a half away from the track. We almost never get one any closer.
The reason being?
I don't care what people say. Every time I find one closer than an hour, the prices are jacked up. Some people swear that they're not. Maybe it's just where I'm looking, but they always seem to be. So if you stay about an hour, or even 2 hours, we have stayed 2 hours away from the track. The prices are very reasonable. They're just like any other where you're going.
Very rarely is it inexpensive, and that is only like when it's maybe Charlotte's a difference because we've stayed in Mooresville, and the race has been at Charlotte, which Charlotte has been.
Yeah.
So I mean, but that's a big metropolitan area. We're actually a half hour to 40 minutes away from the track from there.
Yeah.
Because Charlotte Motor Speedway isn't really in Charlotte itself. It is, in Concord, which is like a suburb.
But if you're going for like the 600 and you're going to do all of the different fan days and things, yes, obviously, I'm not saying like never, ever, ever do it. But for the most part, when we're going to a race, and we're never the only race fans there.
Yeah. So
there's other people that are doing it too.
We will
see people.
That's the fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
In these scenarios, I'm gonna say it wrong again. Withville, Virginia. Withville, Virginia, where it is located, is literally was an equidistance from there to Bristol.
Yeah.
From there to North Wilkesboro, where we were, and then Martinsville is a little bit further east of it, but that's actually like a good little hub there to go those three directions. So if that helps you a little bit. But like I said, for Charlotte itself, because it is such a big area, there's so many more hotels there. I think availability on the hotel rooms is a little bit different.
That's a little different because you're not.
Rates don't go up as high because they're not.
You're in a big city.
Booked as solid. Yeah. So, Chelsea's joining the chat there. So, so Charlotte as a whole, like I said, Mooresville ends up being where we stayed a couple different times. But like I said, it's 40 some minutes from the track anyway. So it is almost within all those guidelines.
Might have been the closest.
Right.
Proximity.
But if you were doing all the stuff this week, if you're staying for the week and doing all the stuff, that's actually the perfect place because
absolutely
you're closer to a bunch of the shops that are doing their events. Yep. So that's the first thing about the hotels. Like as we talk about some of them are a little further than an hour ways. We get to we talk about Nashville in a minute, but let me put this up here. See if I can throw this on the screen here. That's why I've got this facing this way so you can see both of us and then see the screen. I'm going to throw an image up there and see if I get it to work. This will be kind of fun. This is a cool thing. I'm going to throw Charlotte up there. Hey, here we go. What's their saying? Good evening. Hey, what's going on? Ryan, and who's that? What's that one say? It's a distance for me. I should have magnified that. Oh, no. No, the one that says up there. The per people on the right.
I'm looking at that.
Dennis? Something Dennis? That's Carl Dennis. Okay, there we go. So yeah, okay, here's a map of, and I'm behind the map, but that's all right. Here's a little map of Charlotte and around the speedway. So parking, first off, not free was free in some of the areas, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there are paid lots. And here's the thing about parking around any of these places that we're going to talk about. Free is great, yes. Sometimes you want to pay for things, and in the next week or two or three, we'll do other tracks, and we'll get to the Bristol situation. I'll explain that. That's a totally different ball game, and I paid for that spot, and it was great.
Yeah, you got a bargain there with what you paid.
What we did, what we ended up doing afterward with it. So, but around the speedway at Charlotte. Of course, the short track is there. The dirt track is right there. The drag strip was right there. A lot of times, the free parking is right in that area, and it's perfect.
That's what we did that the last time.
Right,
we were there.
So
and it worked out great. Yeah. That one worked out great.
Yes.
The first time we were there, I want to say we were near like the backstretch area. Would that be like in the green?
We were in the blue there. We were down by.
The first time we were there.
Yeah, that
when
one.
We ended up napping in the car because we could not get out for seriously like 4 hours.
And then when we went to try to leave, we had to go the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And then basically going all the way around the track on a big loop to get to go the right direction. So, but a lot of what you see on that map there, that piece of highway that's right there, there is a directional piece of highway out there between the blue and the orange. That goes like that's the main drag going into Concord and where all the car dealerships are. So if you go down that road this way here, that's like the main road coming up and in, and then the road that's going across the track that goes from the top to the bottom of the screen there um, is kind of like the main way they'll push some of the traffic away. So those are the three directions to go. So if you're in that orange area there, you're pretty much going to go to the south, going down toward town there. But the highway is only like about 2 miles up the road before you get to go through past a couple of dealerships. A lot of good hotels right there. Like I said, if you and that's another thing. If you're willing to pay for a hotel or you have the means, please go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Our friends, the Mariottis, they stay at Marriott's, and there was one right there when we were there that last time. So they were like a mile or two down the road. Michael Waltrip. Oh, there's someplace that we ate over there. Michael Waltrip's restaurant is right there on that piece of street. So that kind of it's kind of a good place to have a meal. And it was like I said, it was after the truck race, so it was kind of cool in there. And we didn't see him there. Did we? No, he wasn't there that night. But yeah, so that kind of gives you a couple ideas on things around the track there. Like I said, that main drag that goes to the south there's down as you go down it. There's car dealerships. So there's the Hendrick dealerships. The Hendrick campus is back there off the road, back into the woods. You've got, and then when you get into the track, what's cool now is the track doesn't really have any seats on the back stretch, or really turns 2 to all the way to turn 3 doesn't really have any seats. All the seats are from the end of 4 all the way to the beginning of turn 1. So tap room. I'm sorry, yeah, Michael Waltrip's tap room. Thank you. So at reasonable prices and his beverages there. So really really good stuff. So eating inside and outside of the place is another big thing. Like sometimes we know what the prices are going to be like on the inside, and we'll try to make sure we have food ahead of time. Eat something in the parking lot so we're not hungry when we go into the place. This past weekend, actually, Wilkesboro wasn't bad when we got in there for pricing rise. It wasn't really too bad. And they had some cool kind of things set up inside. They had actually food trailers set up inside, which is something that Darlington needs to take a note from.
Yeah, wait till we end up getting to
Darlington. When we get to Darlington and talk about food, that was not a good situation. So that kind of gets you some of the idea about the track. The facilities at Charlotte themselves, I mean, it's a newer.
Very nice.
Yeah, well done, well taken care of. We try not to use porta potties if we can help it.
Yeah.
We really don't want to. So, it's right across from the Hendrick dealership. And yes. I'm looking. I see that Justin's joined in too. I saw Chelsea earlier, so I'm sorry. We should be looking at the chat a little more often because we can actually. We're not trying to be on schedule or anything like that. So if you guys have any questions about this stuff too, let us know what you do. It's kind of cool too to share with us. So we're from Maryland. Cool. Yeah. Mooresville cheap. Yeah, I was saying Mooresville's pricing was pretty good for hotels.
Yeah, we're not going to Hooters, Justin. If they sponsored Ryan, it'd be different.
They're not sponsoring anybody anymore.
But they were.
They were going. Yeah, they were.
They were.
Yeah. So let me get that off the screen. I just wanted to put that map up there just to kind of take a look at it. But
you want to move on to Nashville?
Well, would you have anything to add to Charlotte?
No. I mean, the food was fine. It was just like you would find, the chicken tenders and fries. And
yeah, they don't have a lot of different things in there that are kind of.
Remember, we just thought about doing this on Monday.
Yeah.
We have not written down the things that we have done for the past 8 years of going to track. So,
although we have a chart of all the tracks. As a matter of fact, we should have brought the
map.
The map in.
I'll get the map.
Put the map back here too. This will be kind of cool. Some people have seen this before, but we actually, and I haven't thrown the video online yet. We've added our North Wilkesboro to the map too. So So let's see here. Yeah, we're going to talk about, I think, Nashville next, because that's the next track. And maybe I'll look and see if I can throw that map up here too. There we go. Before I throw the map up. Right there, I'll probably do it. So there it is. There's our there's all of our pins so far of all the tracks we've been to. As you can tell, there's only one west of the Mississippi so far. So working on that. I kidded because Ryan. Oh, I'm sorry. That's another thing. If you're watching us, and didn't catch it on YouTube right now, we did release our interview with Ryan that we did yesterday. We literally did it last night, and it was a half hour long, and it was super. And Adam was so excited afterward, he hurried up and edited it, and then threw it right onto YouTube right away. So it's on YouTube. Then today, I believe he put it on Facebook. So it's on Facebook now. And I think the audio version, the regular audio version, he's going to actually put out tomorrow. So that was kind of cool too. So I asked Adam, or Ryan asked it after we did the interview where we were going, what races we were going to. So this, is sometimes a determining factor. We're trying to put newer pegs in there and Dover.
Yeah, we're going to add Dover.
We're going to add Dover. And at some point, we're looking at either Michigan or Pocono or both, because that could be a day trip for us from where we're at. We're right
by that pin.
This one right here. So, right there in Ohio. So it's not real far to get to those two. And actually, as I keep looking at it, every time I pull it up on a map, Watkins Glen is within 5 hours of here. So that's actually wouldn't be a bad drive either. It's a bad drive in the winter when you have to drive through Buffalo, but this time of year, very good. So, Vegas, hint, yeah.
That is in the larger picture.
Yeah, I don't know if it's this fall.
Because that's where we got married.
Yeah.
So, yes, we do want to
We want to return to the scene of the crime at some point. Maybe on an anniversary, a round number anniversary.
Okay. That's only 2 years away.
I know. That's what I said that.
Okay, Nashville.
Nashville. So let me
only did it once.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That was let's pull this up here. It's off by another image, but that's okay.
And half the warden.
Mm-hmm. All right. This picture I found, I don't know how good it is. Let's see what it looks like once it loads. There it is. Okay, so this right, and really when you're looking at the track here, down what would be across, like going into turn one, extended, the front stretch extended, really from start finish line. There is parking there, and that is basically where it is. It's a real hilly area, a lot of trees, kind of organized. Well, no, I don't even think it really was that organized, because we kind of made our own lane there, didn't we?
That's where we parked next to that one tree.
Yeah.
Okay, I do remember parking.
Yeah.
Because it was 104 degrees.
Yeah.
Outside of the car, and we were like, I'm not getting out. I'm not getting out of this car.
Yeah, this was June of 2023. This was for Ryan. Yeah, for the Ryan fans that are here, not a good day.
No.
This was where they had to. Not a good day, just period. But Adam and Tara were actually there at that one.
Mm-hmm.
They will be returning to Nashville this year. I think they've got an experience planned out. I think Victory Lane Celebrate picture. So hopefully that'll be a really good one. But as far as like the facilities, they're kind of sparse, because there was like a lot of the stands that were down. We were sitting down in turn 4 onto the front stretch, and they were not temporary per se, but they looked like they were just built, and there wasn't anything to them, and they didn't go up very high. The main grandstand was a pretty good sized grandstand. That's where everything was pretty much. If you wanted to get a bathroom or go get something to eat, but they didn't have a lot of facility for that. But they did have some food trucks. Come think of it, there too.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, that's a good thing too. Anytime that these places bring in the food trucks, that's super. Now I don't know, because the one thing is the pricing ends up being a little better, because food trucks, sure, they have to make a certain amount of money to pay for their spot I'm sure, because they're paying for it to be there, but they don't necessarily go out of the ballpark on their pricing for what is like normal food, So I do remember getting something to eat there, tacos and stuff, at a taco truck, and because it was between the two sets of the grandstands, and then the stands going down into turn 4, there were a couple of trucks.
That's the one that had fried green tomatoes.
See, there we go.
Yes.
We found it.
Yes.
We found something.
Fantastic. I don't remember the name of the food truck, but it was between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe that was the fried green tomatoes one. And yes, that was.
Yeah.
That was good.
Now, getting out of this track, totally. Once you're out of the parking lot, you're in great shape because they've got it set up down to a piece of highway. And I don't know. I think is it 480? It might be this 480 that they're showing us at the bottom here. Basically, once you get out on the main road, it's like 6 lanes going one direction, and then you got a choice to go like either north or south. But this track is nowhere near the city of Nashville. I'm in 30 miles away or something like that. Something. It was something like way out there. And on this one, we didn't stay. We stayed in like Chattanooga or something like that. We
stayed at Chattanooga for a lot of different places.
Talladega too, yeah. So it was a little bit of a drive between
Bring a
there.
bucket hat.
Yeah.
Of course. One thing that we always do, I keep them in my car, are those towels.
Yes.
And you wet them down.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 4 of them, I think, and
yeah.
I wash them and I leave them in the car because you never know until you get to the track. You get out and you're like, oh, it's gonna be humid. So
yeah, and we usually travel with a
to
big.
Nicole, those really help.
Yeah, the purple ones, right? They're from. I think 2 we got from the Ryan Blaney Family Foundation.
2 of them are from the foundation, and 2
are from Ally, who sponsored one of the races.
I want to say it was either Atlanta or Nashville, I thought.
Yeah. So, those we usually carry a cooler, big, rather decent sized cooler in the car full of ice, so that if we go back to the car at any point in time, if we need to, and just grab up ice. Sometimes we'll bring a mini cooler in with us. This last time or 2, it was not quite hot enough. Really wouldn't, and it's extra weight to carry. But most of the places will let you have the mini cooler. So, as the summer goes on, we kind of take advantage of it. We'll literally take like Body Armor waters or something like that, freeze them.
Or even the Body Armors.
And just freeze them. And then put them into those coolers and have a
and then that's your ice in the cooler.
Yeah, ice in the small cooler, and then it doesn't totally melt away or get warm by the time you go to drink one during the race. So, but like I was going to say, when we get out of this track, once you get out of the parking lot, the traffic is flowing pretty quickly toward the highway, and I think that's half the battle with the parking lots, because as we're finding out with a lot of these places, the parking, no one's going to stay and work after the race to help clear a parking lot, and a lot of people don't really use courtesy.
No one stays in their lane.
No,
everyone's jumping lane.
Yeah, I got a Michigan story to tell once we get to that one. So, about that, but this like I said, once we got back onto the highway, got to the highway quickly. Really, once we got out of the parking lot, and I think that helps the traffic flow is if they've got you moving quickly. As we'll talk about in a future thing too about Pocono's the same thing. Pocono takes you out to 80, and you're either going to go east or west, and they get you. You make sure you're in the right lane by the time you get there, and then you go. So, let's get. I don't know. That was cool. We actually remembered the food trucks there too, and Michigan was the next big question, and I'm going to remove this.
Okay, we're getting to Michigan.
Yeah, I think we're getting into Michigan.
Okay, I counted 5 that we've been to. 5 times we've been to Michigan.
Okay.
I feel like it's been more, but when I quickly went through our list, I counted 5, and I know that we've each gone before we were together.
Yeah. So, let me pull this map up. Block my face.
Now, the cool thing about Michigan is if you live near Sharon Speedway would be your home base. It can end in a day.
Mm-hmm.
If you're okay with driving for 4 hours, going to the track, seeing the race, traffic 4 hours.
So we get.
But if you want to do it, it's great. We've done both. We've stayed up there, and we've done a day trip.
So,
And the last time we stayed, sorry.
okay, I'm sorry. That's
The
why.
last time we stayed, I think, was when we stayed at Firekeepers, because it was the Firekeepers 400 race. And we stayed up there at the, and it was a little bit pricier, but we were there for the experience, and that was fun.
Okay, well, Firekeepers is an hour west of the track.
It is.
Okay, at least an hour.
But it's still within our bracket of
right. If you're planning it out from this area here, Toledo, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say. Toledo, Ohio is less than an hour pretty much from there.
Yeah.
Toledo, Ohio will still have really reasonable hotel rates right off the turnpike. So traveling in, like I said, from the west, I guess that's where Firekeepers is a good spot. There's some hotels out there by the casino itself. But also coming from the east here, and I know that the questions we were asked were somebody from our area actually. We'll stay in Toledo. As a matter of fact, last year, the race rains, gets delayed to Monday. We had both taken Monday off. We didn't have the hotel set till after.
No.
We decided.
No, but that's a pretty low time of the week for hotels. So
the night after, the night after the race is over, it's usually. But we drove back to Toledo.
Yeah.
And that's where we got the hotel.
Yeah. There's a lot of times now that we won't book the hotel room after the race, even if it's a far race, because let's just see how far we can get.
Yeah.
Because there've been a couple times where we just ended up
just driving home.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit crazy, but
after the first Martinsville win that we not last year, but the year before, I think we ended up driving home. But it worked because we were so hyped up.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
I had to get home. I had to get home and hurry up and start writing stuff for the podcast. Yeah. That's not true. But, so a couple Michigan stories. So before we were ever together, my first trip to a NASCAR event was at Michigan. Went with a couple friends, and I'll say one friend, and then his buddies. Let's put it that way.
Why don't you move that off the screen so they can see your hotel story?
Okay, you're right. I'll bring it back.
I can see a pretty face.
If I can just move this somewhere else.
Put it right here. Put it right here.
Oh, that's the wrong direction.
Good. Now they can't see anything.
I can't see it at all. I don't know what he wants to do. I'm just going to get it out of here. Okay. Okay. So yeah, for this story, like I said, with a friend of mine and his buddies, and I put it that way because he was my friend, but everybody else, I kind of met them and knew them a little, but they didn't really, So we went for 2 days. We were going for Xfinity race on Saturday, a cup race on Sunday. And then same thing. We stayed at a hotel, I think. Same thing. It was like maybe a half hour away somewhere. Super, super move. The guy who was driving us, there was like 5 of us in a truck that was like a crew cab, extended cab thing. So with about 15, 20 laps to go, I turned to my buddy and I go, "This is pretty cool." And he goes, "Yeah." We're both excited, right? And we're going to get to see Dave on Sunday, and and the other guy's on the other side. He goes, "You guys ready to go?" He thought that's what we were saying. It was time to go because that's the way he goes. He listens to the end of all the races on the radio. As much as I will complain about traffic after a race, I pretty much am going to watch the race unless something really devastating happens.
In our 30-some race, there has been like two times that it's happened.
One was illness. Somebody was ill. Yeah. Okay. I'm not picking on it. I'm just saying. I mean, that's a good, valid reason.
I hardly even count that one because that was Darlington, right? The Darlington one.
Yeah.
And that's when Ryan crashed on like 2.
Yeah. Thanks to Martin.
And
thanks, Martin.
We were both sick, but I was so sick. And I looked at him and I was like, "Can we go now?"
Yeah.
We did stay until the first stage. Right?
Yeah, we did. So.
But that one was that we were quite ill.
Yeah.
The other one was Oh, Martinsville. We knew it was going to be cold, so we were ready for it, but we weren't because it got so much colder than what they said. In our section, I was the last woman there.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them all bailed. I was the only one left, and I'm looking at him, and I'm shivering for like an hour, and then when I saw you started to shiver, I'm like, we gotta get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we just can't do it anymore. It was so cold.
Yeah, and that was how long ago? I don't even know if I have that. I don't have that. It was a long time ago because Ryan was in the 12, but he wasn't in the playoffs at that point. He was already out of the playoffs, so it was. Yeah, it was. That's when we had those passes that day too. I bought that pre-race thing.
I remember you had extra shirts on you,
mm-hmm.
and we were laying them on our. We were like wrapping our legs and like we
had
a blanket, and
yeah.
we were trying to do anything to get warm. And
yeah,
we finally
weren't prepared.
Can't do it.
So anyway, that was my first experience, and that guy, we did not leave early. We forced him to stick around. Thankfully, my buddy Chris and I, Chris was like, "Oh, hell no," and I'm like, "Yeah, me neither. I'm here for the thing," So it was a little irritating to that guy, but we were going to a hotel, so what were we hurrying about? Why worry about getting stuck in traffic? You're going to get stuck in traffic, So, and
it might have been the sleeting race. If you're talking about the Martinsville, we have been at Martinsville when it has been sleeting. We have been at Martinsville when it's been raining. We've been at Martinsville when it's been snowing.
Snowed out.
we literally turned signal on, turned left as we turned into the vicinity. They postponed the race until Monday. And we were just like, you gotta be kidding me.
All the way down.
We drove all the way down and all of that.
Yeah. So back to Michigan.
Yeah. Back to Michigan.
What was I talking about? I was talking about that race experience. So so don't, but the thing about Michigan is the same thing. So that's why I wanted the map up to show this, at least about this, with the parking.
Let me just say, the cops and everybody after Michigan race, I think they do a phenomenal job. After the race, they shut everything down. The RVs are shut down for 2 hours. They can't leave yet, so they can get all the traffic out. All traffic's going out. There's no inbound cross traffic. Everybody's going outward. They have it set up great. Mm-hmm. It's the people in the parking lot that don't know what they're doing. Part that was infuriating.
Yeah. So let me show this. Let me show this first, and then I'll get it back off the screen.
Got it.
So this is just so that you can see the layout. So a good portion of the parking is actually on the front stretch side, and there's a bridge at both ends here to go over this road, and all the parking is on the other side of it. In the middle is like the camping areas.
Well, that top, that bridge there.
Yeah.
That one, it goes into a camping.
In the camping. So the lower bridge.
The other one is gate parking.
Is parking at the top there. So that parking at the top goes north on that, or that would be south actually. I don't know the way this map is, but goes out that road, and once you get to that road, it goes to the right, and you got to go right because the way they got the road shut down. And from that point forward, and that's going west actually at that point, but that point forward, you get to a certain point, you make this left to get away from everybody, and you take a stretch of about 2 mile road that nobody knows about, and you make another left, and all of a sudden you're heading back east where you want to be. So no matter which way they kick you out of the place, you can find your way back with good GPS and so forth. But that's the thing, is they shut down the roads going one direction. So getting out of there, not so hard once you're out of the parking lot. Now we'll tell, once I get this off screen, we'll tell the last year parking situation, which is just crazy. So cars coming from every direction, left and right, and trying to get to, and you try to get into a line, and you try to get everybody to go, okay, if he's coming from the left, he's going to take a turn. And I might move up a little bit to the next set of things and let somebody else take a turn. And I try to be that guy. I try to be that. Let's take a turn. You take a turn. I take a turn. We were at a point where there had to be like well, we had moved through it, but 3 or 4 things coming into one point.
Yeah.
Some guy behind us decides, I don't know what happened to him.
I don't know.
And I didn't really pay good attention to him, even though I was yelling at him in a minute or two. All I know is I had some help, which is the funniest part of the whole thing. He hit us
Three
three times.
Like in succession.
Yeah,
it was like that. Bam, bam, bam.
And I thought,
what just happened?
What? Yeah, we're not going anywhere. I don't know.
And we have not moved in at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, we have not moved an inch.
Yes,
so what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
So I get out of the car. I put it in park. I'm not going anywhere. And I get out of the car.
You weren't even the first one out of the car.
That's the funniest thing.
The other people in the other cars on the sides trying to come in, they got out of their cars.
They got out of theirs too. They saw what happened, and they were with me. They were like over my shoulder. And I yelled at the guy, and this might be a little loud, I don't know.
Don't scream it. But I
was just like, are you having a medical emergency? Because he's got his window up, right? And he's like, what? Because
I've always told him, you never know what's happening with somebody. Maybe somebody's having an issue. So that's like, he wanted him prefaced first.
Right.
Are you having a medical
emergency? Are you having a medical emergency?
Then you're just being an idiot.
So he had backed up enough where I could see that there really wasn't any major damage.
No.
There wasn't. There was a lease.
Thank goodness he only started from about like this far away.
Yes. It was a lease. I was able to make sure that it popped back out and had it cleaned up before I turned the lease in. But why? Yeah. And it was she's still laughing today because of what I said, but
because you still use it. Anytime someone does a boneheaded thing on the road, that's what you
I do say that now. So, are you having a medical emergency? Just, you never know. He could have been like something had happened. He was having a heart attack. His foot slipped off the brake.
Which he wasn't. Know. If he was really having a medical emergency, I wouldn't be laughing.
No.
He was
being jerk face. And the reason I know that he was totally panicked afterward is as we move forward, he disappeared.
Yeah, he took off.
He let people in front of him.
Oh, that's right. He backed up.
He started letting other people in front of him go to make sure that we weren't anywhere near each other the rest of the way out of that parking lot. Yeah. Because if I would have gotten near him outside the parking lot, he was afraid. And I wasn't going to do anything. I was just mad at that moment. And luckily, there wasn't any damage. If there was damage, we would have been sitting there and I would have called the cops and they would have had to come over and take a report. Because then I would have made him pay for it. Because I would have had to physically make him pay for it. And I don't mean like give his insurance. So, that's another thing to think about when you're in these situations is, where are you going? That's really, you're going to get anywhere. You want to pull off a move with nobody around, that's fine. But you hit somebody else, you could end up there all night waiting for the cops to follow you.
You know your inner Blaney.
Yes. I didn't swear. There was no F-bombs. Pretty good for me, really. Because I can let them loose. But as far as so we were talking about getting into Michigan's not too hard at all. And that's where you're going to park is on that front stretch side. There is parking all the way on the other side, and they do give you tram rides back and forth to the parking. So if you end up parking as soon as you see parking coming to the track from the west, from the east, and you want to park in those lots, you can. They'll have these areas where they'll give you the tram ride from there to the track. They really don't have any. They've torn down stands in the last 10 years or so. So there's not as many stands down at like turn 3 anymore. So it's mainly turn 4 to turn 1. And everything on the everything as far as like the merch haulers and all that are on the exterior of the track. They're not inside the gates. And there's a good portion of food type things, food trucks. And then like we're talking about firekeepers. Firekeepers, tell them about firekeepers.
When they hosted the race, they had a tent out there. I remember it was pouring, almost as bad as it's pouring now. And I got over to the tent, and they had like their chefs come out, and they did like some tacos. I remember because I got tacos, but they had like some other things that it was different than just the burger or hot dog and fries that you see at all the tracks. Mm-hmm. It was really good, by the way. I mean, the price was good, but it was fantastic. And
the thing about the Michigan experience on the exterior of the track is like all the merch haulers are there, and that's super. But they also, all the manufacturers, the GM and Ford especially, do some heavily concentrate areas of promotion. Ford Performance Stage, GM Stage, or whatever. They have them set up, and on the Ford side of things, that's we got an autograph there one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the crowd
Mm-hmm.
got through, got an autograph. So you can sometimes catch an appearance, driver's appearances out there. I don't know if Ryan will do it. We don't know this far in advance. If Ryan will do something there this year or not, but we did see him at that Ford stage one time. Actually, isn't I think the Ryan and Blaney Family Foundation tent is supposed to be at Ford at Michigan this year too, if I'm not mistaken. It's on their website.
Oh.
Here, you talk, I'll pull it up. So
facilities are great at Michigan, and it's beautiful. It's a great place. We were talking earlier, because we were showing you all the parking lots. It's a great place to tailgate. It's the Irish Hills, everything. It's just gorgeous up there. It really is.
That's the thing is the tailgating. Bring your own food. A place like that.
Yeah.
I've been there on a couple trips with work where we used to have a bus go up every year at work, and we had some really good guys in our group who volunteered to cook, and the company brought the food and grilled out all kind of different things, and good sandwiches or hamburgers or whatever. And we took a bus, so it was really cool because we got to park in a certain area and set up away from people a little bit, set up a tent. And that's another thing. We can bring a tent. We have a tent that we can bring. Sometimes we don't do it because we'll put it up, put it down. If we were going with more than just ourselves,
Yeah,
maybe,
it was meeting people, because we did do that.
We did with Jerry and Kirsten. 2 years ago, we were all there in Michigan. So
yeah,
and
it rained.
Yeah, we didn't.
I think that was one of those misty days. It rained, but then when it was supposed to be green flag day, they did, because it was just mist. It was just
So the pop-up tent here. Yeah, let me bring this up because I believe it's coming to a couple places soon. That's an old page.
When it comes to facilities, I mean, most of them, I'm pretty happy with them. They do a really good job. They have a lot of women's bathrooms. It's great everywhere you go. It was nice at Martinsville that I saw the guys had a line out the bathroom and the girls didn't. The women's didn't. It was wonderful. Just go right in and go.
So it's been a week before that.
Yeah,
okay, so
they'll be there at Michigan. They'll be there at Pocono.
Okay. Oh, so great. So yeah, the pop-up tent will be June 6th, June 8th. Patty will definitely be there. I don't know if I don't want to say that she might be there. Leah may or may not be there. It kind of depends. She's usually on the ones closer to the Charlotte area or Martinsville area. And then, the next time the tent's up after that is actually Pocono in June 20th to 22nd.
Dover.
It's going to be at Dover. Hey, it's all the places we can be. In Indianapolis.
Jeez, go and spend money.
Yeah. And Sharon Speedway for the Memorial on August 2nd. So that's really cool. I thought for sure it was going to be someplace. Nashville. There it is. I thought it was at Nashville too. So actually, it's going to be at Nashville. It says May 30th to June 1st. So Patty will also be in Nashville for those going to Nashville too. So that's awesome. Awesome news. I would kind of look that up real quick to make sure. Anything else about Michigan? Can you read any of the stuff over there on the right hand side? Are you sure?
New changes released today. I think so on Instagram.
Changes? Changes to what, Terry?
I don't know.
Yeah. Changes. Talk about driving into things. So otherwise with Michigan, I can't think of anything else like
Your Michigan got ruined by the rain, Justin? Is that what you said? We
Yeah,
drove up faster than we saw them run.
yeah, that's right. I think they were there for some. Well, yeah, they were there last year. We ran.
That's when we. Yes. That's when. Yes.
They were there last year, and they got. That's right. They couldn't stay for Monday.
Here, I'll show you what we're pointing at.
Yeah, here's what we're pointing at.
You haven't emptied this.
No, I have not. I should just empty it, but Justin took care of that for us because up here in Northeast Ohio they didn't have any of these anywhere.
So full of liquid.
But those in the South Carolina, North Carolina area, I'll just have to drill a hole in the bottom of it and empty it. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe one of my projects for Thursday. That and doing the body armor hood tomorrow. It's going to happen. The new body armor chill. And the hats are for sale already on their website. And if you're going to the appearance on Friday, I'm sure they're going to have the hero cards.
Yeah.
Because we already saw those. So, you got four. Oh, you got 4 of them? People shipped them out. Oh, you still have 4 of them. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have the chill yet?
Oh, you have to go to
we got them at
Sam's Club, right?
Club.
Sam's Club.
Yeah.
It's a couple of different club type places. I don't know if Walmart has them or not. I'm guessing they do because why else would Ryan do an appearance at the Walmart?
Sam's and Walmart.
We're the same company, so.
Berry, orange, and
Cherry. Yeah. And the orange comes in a white bottle.
Yes.
That's how you get your red, white, and blue. So,
they had them out at the shop today, the hero cards. I wonder if they went through them.
Probably. Who said that?
Justin.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, I hopefully got a couple of them. Got himself. Got his hands on one at least. New channel.
I haven't tried them yet. I was busy drinking the zeros, the body armor zeros.
Yeah.
This weekend.
That's been my thing, kind of. I'm trying to do some things with that because there's almost no calories to them. So
they're good.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're really good. See, Ryan thinks they're pretty good. Ryan Farmatino thinks pretty good too. I think Terry may be talking about what happened with Penske today. Maybe. Do you want to comment on that? Well, we got people.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. Somebody got fired. I don't know. This what's funny is like Adam posted something on Discord with a link to the interview that Roger did afterward that we saw today, that Roger's interview.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a media thing. I mean, it's a way of kind of like doing a mea culpa and trying to look like you're facing the music and answering all the questions and trying to look at least like you're a straightforward person. But yeah, it did come off kind of shady looking. I mean, really, I hate to say that, but I'm going to look something up here real quick because
I saw everything at lunchtime at work.
We discussed these things.
And I said that too, Nicole. I was like, someone's dad got fired.
His dad got fired, yeah. So we discussed these things on the trip back. Things started happening with the penalties. And even the penalties looked kind of shady at first because the first thing was like a slap on the wrist. It was like, okay, well, you guys aren't going to be allowed to qualify for the pole today, but you qualified for the pole qualifying, so you're going to be within 12 with this illegal part.
And
then the next day, well, here's the thing that happened between here and the next day, and that's when they had the meeting with all the owners. All the owners got together, had a meeting without Roger. As even though Roger's an owner of a team of 3 teams, he's also the owner of the whole organization and the sanctioning body. So they had that meeting without him. And what did you say they were when they got done?
it said they were livid.
Livid was
I
the
think is
word
what I saw.
used. Yeah. So
I think
that was part of what I think changed the whole narrative because the optics, and that was a good word earlier that I heard, optics did not look good. So I think the next penalty was the penalty where they got, okay, well, now you're going to start 32nd and 33rd and $100,000 $2,000 penalty to both teams and your car chief taken away for the weekend. And that seemed a little better. It still seemed kind of shady because there was a reporter who went over to the museum and he found last year's Indy 500 winning car sitting there with that same modification on it. And that didn't look good either because that means it passed all the inspections somehow, right? Won the Indy 500, and they didn't do anything to change the look of it.
But like he said, he's like, listen, I'm not saying that crossed the line at the Indy 500 last year. I don't know if that part was there. I'm just saying it's on that car now.
That's kind
I have no proof that it actually crossed that line last year.
They tore that whole car down.
On the car in the museum.
Yeah, they tore the whole car down, and we got some of these in, and he made it sound like there was a supplier issue where they were given some parts that weren't the parts they were supposed to have, and they swapped some of these in, but didn't realize that the wrong ones were in there or something. That's kind of what he's tried to make it sound like at some point during that interview today too. Funny thing is, they fire Cindric, who's the IndyCar managing director, and then was it Ron Ruzinski, the IndyCar general manager, and Kyle Moyer. And I think the third guy is actually the car chief of the other car that passed the inspection. So all three teams now are not a car now. Funny thing is Austin losing his job, and I think it's kind of funny that ever since they moved Austin's dad off of NASCAR stuff, Austin's actually performed way better without his dad being around. And I don't know what that is, if there was any real effect to it. Maybe he was just improving. Maybe the equipment was improving, or the setups were improving for him, and the way he likes to drive. But now his dad's not there at all. But was his dad really ever protecting him? I don't think so, because the rumors were that if Austin didn't get much better soon, he was going to be gone anyway. And now he's at least winning a race or two on his own merit, and already qualified for playoffs, and even with this big penalty that they had earlier this year. So, I think he's going to do quite fine and not have to really worry about his job now that his dad's not there. So, might even do better. Maybe he'll win a championship now that his dad's not there. You reading what else you reading there through there?
Ryan said he's gonna try to get to Ryan's session on Friday.
Okay.
Just go early.
Yeah. It says
200 will go fast.
200 is going to go fast. It says they're not handing out the armbands till 2:00.
But you might want to get in line.
Yeah. Find out what time Justin, are you going Friday? I should ask first. I mean, to see, because you don't know where those guys, But even ask Justin if you get a chance on how some of these Walmart ones work, because I don't know if they're inside or outside, and if they are, like, where the line goes, where it winds through the store or whatnot. Another nice little side note, and I don't think you'll mind me telling this, but so we got done. What were you going to say?
Oh, go ahead and tell your story. I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get that in a minute. Okay. So last night we have a window to record, and we asked Ryan how much time, because it's up to him, and he said, how's a half hour? So it's awesome. So now we already had a set of questions, but beforehand we talked for a minute or two, and then afterward we talked for a minute or two, if he's got time. So we actually ended a minute or two before the half hour is up. And Adam, I don't know if you guys know about the cooler that Adam's wife inherited from her uncle, who just passed away. But it was and it's an older cooler. It's not really like in super great shape, but it had a bunch of autographs on it. It had Ryan's dad, Ryan's uncle, and Ryan's grandfather. So we brought that up real quick, because it was actually behind Adam on the wall. and thanked him again for signing it. And he says, thank you for bringing that. He says, I've hardly ever seen anything with my grandfather's autograph on it. And, you know, he took, Adam told, it's told already before, and he took pictures of it and so forth. So it's a really, really cool thing. And just cool to hear him talk about it for a minute. Because, he was able to autograph it too and be on it. And then Adam was able to tell him that they actually took it back to Tara's aunt, so she could see that too. So it was really, really a cool thing. Something that we really wouldn't record for anything, but just I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about it because that's just kind of what a nice guy he is too. Telling us how really kind of cool it was to see something like that kind of heritage behind it. So the question was asked, is somebody? So
Alex wants to know, what's the favorite hood of yours on the wall behind you?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You can't see like half of the hood.
Yeah.
So hold on a second.
Yeah, unless you move the camera.
Let me move this.
Yeah, let's move that. And probably gonna have to three-quarter close that door.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it open enough just in case.
Yeah, well, we have our dog on the sheet actually this whole time. All right, so, and maybe I'll just take the one down if I can.
You want to pick that up and show them all of them?
I mean, if you want to do it, if you want to play director, that's on, but that's not going to be what they're going to see over there. So that's just literally going to be.
Oh, you're showing
TikTok.
it that way.
Right. That's just TikTok. So you can do that for the TikTok audience, but that guy there is not going to be able to see them all. That's why I said maybe I'll just take my favorite one down.
Yeah, take your favorite one down.
It's you can barely see it, but it is here. It's probably this one here. You like certain ones?
You have 46 of them up here, so.
It's probably this one right here. This one was the coolest one I've done, and it's also a Coca-Cola 600 winning hood. I have, and some of them come off a little easier than others. This is not going to go back up because this actually fell off, and I have to get a new piece. But some of the other ones, let's explain fan first real quick. You guys can see fan first up there. I'm going to get a little bit closer. I'm just going to find more zip strips for the scene. Oh, this one came up there. Okay, so let's explain this one. This is kind of cool. This goes back to Dave's days. So Dave is driving Nationwide Series, what they call Xfinity Series now, and a Cup Series at the same time. And he had, at that point in time, this sponsorship deal come up, and it was the 10 car, the 32 car, because Braun Racing was the team, and this company was run by a firefighter out of the Kansas City area. I can't remember his name offhand, but what they did was came up with this concept where you paid to be on the hood of the car, or not hood, but actually body, wherever. And what they would do is in the small print, and kind of like what Advanced Auto Parts did last year with theirs, and we got our names on the car with that. I'd like to see if I can do that again this year, really. Was this, and then if they had a major sponsor on there, then in small print all over the car, and you could find your name somewhere on my Facebook page. I have a picture, an old picture of being on the hood, and the color scheme, the main color scheme, was a black with this green, and then the white print. So what I did, and if you look real carefully, we did with it. Back then it was just names, right? It was just what name you gave them. What I did was I put Twitter handles for, as you can see, my wife's up there, then mine, Adam, Tara, Team Blaney itself, Ryan's, the Foundations, Josh Williams, Fins Up 12. That's Justin. Justin Fatback. Jay Haas 03 is Jonathan. Team Penske, Dave Nichols, Mule. Buckeye Bulletin is Dave, and then his
Emma.
His daughter, and then Leah Reeves, which is actually Dale Blaney's daughter. Blaney Mama, that actually was Lisa, and then Patty Auber, Aaron, and then Pocono, because of course for us, Sharon Speedway is in there, Lou Blaney Memorial, I'm sorry, but for us, Pocono is our #1 track, for those who know that story. So I kind of did that kind of just gave it my own concept. Basically, it's similar to what it looked like Fan First's logo. At least looked like that on the hood. So I was kind of close to it. Should I tell the Haas avocado story if anybody hasn't heard that one yet? Do you remember this story? Remember this story? Okay, so those who also know about Dave Days, this is the winning hood from the Charlotte race, where kind of Petty said, Dave Blaney's going to win this race. So what's interesting about this is the first golf outing that we were at, at the Top Golf. I should have took that one down too. Hold on to this one.
You're gonna wreck your whole wall taking all these down.
That's right. This is good story time. Somebody asked a good question. It's good story time. So I made these for everybody in the Ryan Blaney Family Foundation. This is an older logo of theirs, but I made these for everybody. And I wanted to show, let me get this back up. Oops. Did I do it wrong?
Uh-oh.
No, it's just the thing you got to do there you go, to stay on.
Oh.
I think over an hour you have to. So these for everybody for inviting us and letting us be there for the event. Something they didn't have to do. They kind of gave us to be able to be there. And I made like 6 or 8 of these, right? Presented them to everybody.
Yeah.
Right. So when Brian comes up to our booth to take a picture and so forth, I start explaining to him that I've done these. At that point, I had about 30 of them done. And I had them on the wall. And I showed Brian the picture. And the way the wall's set up, like where you're looking at right now behind us, if you go toward like Fan First, the other way.
Yeah, Justin just asked about that boy.
Yeah. Going this direction over here are the Dave ones. I've got some Dave-oriented ones over there. So I'm showing Ryan this picture, and this is all the way against the wall. It's the last one. And I'm just showing him this picture. It's an array, kind of a picture. And he looks at it on my phone and goes, He clocked
this one.
He clocked that first. He says, is that Haas avocados? Okay.
Big fun.
And that was 4 years ago now, right? So,
yeah.
And this year it was the throwback scheme too. So that's why I kind of wanted to tell you about that, because that was really, really kind of cool that he recognized something like that. A car that Dave probably ran 2 or 3 times. I mean, as a sponsor, they weren't like an every week sponsor or anything like that. But he did win that one nationwide race in that car. So,
Ryan, he made all of these on the Cricket.
Yeah,
he's actually made all these, and that's the new one.
Well, this is going to end up being blue instead of white. That's why I pulled this out right now. Tomorrow, this will have blue on it of some sort, in a couple of different shades. But yeah, I take like a 1x1 piece of metal. And we've had classes on these. I've done a couple Thursday afternoon shows where we've done it, and then take the design of whatever it is and do it on a Cricket. Like you guys are probably clocking that body armor one right in the middle there with the purple and the yellow. That the Kobe Bryant scheme. That was crazy fun to do, because you're basically, it's vinyl that's sticky on one side. So once it's cut, you peel away everything else. And then you take a contact paper on top of it to take it off of the paper. And then if you do it correctly, you put it back on with contact paper. Well, that's like a mesh back there. That was a nightmare.
I was going to say, there's a lot of them that I have stories about, but that one, watching that.
Me put that together was just, and the amount of patience that I learned a lot of patience for the most part.
That's why I just let you go, because
I was never really skilled in crafts and things like that. So,
and now all of our date nights include going to Michael's.
Yeah.
And sometimes Home Depot.
Yeah, if the materials are everywhere to do all kinds of things. Like I made championship trophies on these for on shirts and stuff like that. So
Alex said that you're going to need a body armor chill one if he wins on Sunday. Now, we do have some of the confetti.
Oh.
That I said we need to put on some of the hoods.
Yes.
That match.
Yeah. That match that with certain races. We didn't do the.
We have Martinsville, and we've got the championship, and we've got.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Ask Justin.
So I said we need to start gluing those on the hoods.
Didn't we do that for Justin? We put the one.
I think so, but we didn't do it ours.
No,
or you didn't do it yours, I should say.
But yeah, so that kind of explains those a little bit. But the Bonnier one, I hope to have done by tomorrow afternoon. To tell you the truth, I think I've been kind of patient with it, but because actually Adam teased me today in the Discord chat. Says, "Oh, have fun with all those triangles," and then I showed him how there's literally there's a Cricut program you put on your phone, and you take the picture and put it through that, and it'll create layers, and then you just cut the layers that you need. And if I pick the right layers, it'll be all the different triangles in different directions. As long as I've got them all the same size when it cuts them, same thing. Contact paper to take them up, to put them down. Contact paper, and then do the next layer wherever those triangles hit the other triangles. I shouldn't have too many problems with it. Hopefully, I was hoping pictures from the floor today, but the hood is kind of facing away. Although I do thank everybody who was there at the shop who did take pictures and post them. That was great.
Anything else here? We kind of got off the topic.
Yeah, what was the topic? We were done talking about Michigan, weren't we?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we answered a lot of the questions about travel stuff too. But interact.
If you have more, let us know.
Yeah. We'll do this
we'll
again.
Do it again.
Yeah. Well, we'd like to do this
and we'll pull more hoods up.
With all the walls, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, maybe this will be our Wednesday night spotlight kind of thing. Kind of cool because I know that next week, Adam and I will do a show probably Monday night. But the week after that will probably be me and you doing the podcast live because they're going to be in Nashville. And I don't think they're going to get back from Nashville by Monday night. So, because I think it's a Sunday night race, right? I think the Nashville race is Sunday night. So that could be a late night getting out of there. And if you want to sing karaoke in Nashville, make sure you bring a couple extra bucks to tip the karaoke host. Just I know that by experience. I've been there once, got to sing some karaoke there. So, all right. Anything else, guys? Going to Gateway or Kansas again in the future? That's a great question.
Trying to get to Gateway.
Yeah, we were at Kansas. We were in Kansas last year. We stayed literally on east of down. Because that was one of those weird ones. That was a distance that we were traveling from that was kind of far. So we drove like 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah, that's like 12 hours.
Yeah, so we drove like 8 or 9 hours. Then got the hotel somewhere in Missouri, in the middle of Missouri. And then the next morning drove the rest of the way to the track. Now, weather-wise, if there had rained, we'd have been in deep doo-doo-doo. And it did kind of sprinkle that day and caused the race to be late on start. But it did get in that day. So if it got canceled last year, in the spring, we would have been in a lot of trouble, and probably would have been looking to hopefully get the value of our tickets back, or however we would have done that. But Gateway really isn't too far for us. It just kind of like the last year or two has fallen like in a weird time for us, where we end up having other tracks going on. So
it's on the list. But any of them that we haven't been to is on the list.
Around the list, we have to figure out a way. Like I said, northeast to be New Hampshire at some point, and that's a good trip. But right now, Watkins Glen really is still the closest one we haven't been to yet. When we do these ones in the future, we'll do an Indianapolis. We'll talk about Indianapolis. We'll talk about Pocono, Richmond. It really wasn't. We've only been to Richmond once, but it really wasn't like anything special. But we'll get into those details, and we maybe have some more notes ready for them when we think about them a little further too. But actually, I think we came up with some good stuff. So.
But let us know if there's other questions that either we missed or you thought of. Let us know.
Yeah. So, let's sign on off. And thanks for everybody for joining tonight. I hope everybody had a good time. Hope we were able to answer some questions. We start talking and we sometimes forget that there's people, doing some questions. So Okay, hopefully we answered some of the questions on both sides too. But thanks, guys, for tuning in too.
Thanks.
So I'm going to end this up here.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.